And I'm muting.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show powered by Law Dog Sports. And it is a Friday morning, so that means we're bringing you our regular show. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you. Be sure and check us out on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. Also, this video streaming live on YouTube. Join in on the conversation. Plus, we have our studio line open today, 580-952-9145. That's 580-952-9145, and we'll try to navigate some calls if anybody wants to join us. Jeremy Schroeder, my regular partner here on the day, and every day we are on the air. He is the ruler of the airways. And, man, Jeremy, I watched a bit of basketball last night and stuff going on all over the place there. We've got the Major League Baseball potentially ditching the Mothership news going on, schools opting out of spring games. But what really struck me yesterday was former Vikings punter Chris Kluwe arrested for protesting against a MAGA plaque being put up. I think it was Huntington Beach or Newport Beach or something in California that he really took to the podium as a citizen, and then I guess went too far going over and doing some sort of physical protest.
Yeah, he's a Californian. I mean,
yeah.
we call our duly elected officials Nazis, right?
Yeah, I think what stunned me the most was that any library in California would be opting to hang up some MAGA gear outside. I mean, not only would I have thought there wasn't that kind of sentiment around the libraries in LA, but also, you know, you're just inviting vandalism, I would think.
Yeah, California's that he got arrested in California is mind-boggling to me. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Californians.
California.
Yeah, so much going on today, but that one stuck out to me. You know, kind of leftovers from last week, which I love a good leftover. Had the Justin Tucker news already come out when we were on the air last week? I want to say it came out after we had been on the air.
You mean the additional allegations?
The additional allegations. He was already under fire. Now 7 more have stepped out.
Yeah. I think so. I think Travis Kelce chucking his helmet across the end zone has ruined the man's life.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Jeremy, is the fact that you know, people are interesting in the fact that those poor ladies, which I'm assuming all of the suspects or the not suspects, the victims of the Justin Tucker incident are female. You know, they go through a lot of training to become massage therapists, and they go through a lot of certification, and they have to build a clientele, and they have to get on with an agency, you know, and dudes are half naked already. I mean, I would hate for some massage therapist, even me covered in shorts and a towel, to have to, you know, brandish their eyes on my old man body. But then to be hassled so hard by pro football players, it just reeks of injustice, Jeremy. And I'm saying that flippantly, but I'm also kind of serious.
Well, it moved, Chuck. It moved.
I'll tell you this. First, and this is probably way more than what people want to know. But if these massage therapists want to avoid all that, keep the room cool and put a little clip fan down at the foot of the bed, just aimed right up, you know, towards
Broadway,
fatherland. And you can rule out a lot of that stuff because you know.
So I didn't get a lot of details on the Tucker situation. Was this like a Deshaun Watson meeting in the hotel rooms, or were they actually in his home? Were they in some sort of massage? Are they still called parlors?
Well, I think there are massage parlors, and I think one segment of the community kind of has a grip on those. At least my particular knowledge in the Oklahoma City area. But as far as the NFL, the typical NFL athlete getting deep muscle tissue massage, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to dig into it more because, for one thing, you see Justin Tucker, you see allegations. Why not gouge the University of Texas? There's no point in going any further. What do I care?
Yeah, and the hip flexors. If you're wondering what he's getting massaged, it's the hip flexors. He's getting up there in age. As someone who's
honestly,
getting there myself,
kicking those 60-yard field goals, Jeremy, you've got to be flexible, and
that's right in the same zip code as other things.
Connor Card joining in on the comments. Way too early in the show for that picture, so it's never too early. Hey, my big curiosity though is I just hope Dean Lindsay at Stretch of Norman doesn't have something that he's going to throw out at me once we hit it big time.
Oh no, not Dean. Oh, at you? Did you harass Dean when he was stretching you?
No, I mean,
Dean.
Well, Dean, that's the harassment I give him. I call him up out of the blue. Go, listen, Dean, we're gonna get out there and hit somebody in the mouth. All right, let's get into some content here. How'd you like that video I sent you of the University of New Mexico schedule release?
Man, that was awesome.
If you're not aware,
awesome. Yeah,
check us out on Twitter at Law Dog Sports. I shared it and tagged Jeremy. The University of New Mexico did a video for their schedule reveal with nothing but Family Guy segments, and everyone but the Aztec. I guess San Diego Zoo.
Zoo. Come on, man.
I guess Seth MacFarlane has made a rip at everything under the planet except the Aztec tribe. So
yes.
He could have done the well, never mind.
I'm pretty sure South Park took a shot or two at him. They could have. Maybe they couldn't get the licensing for South Park.
Well, what's the one where? It seemed like they wanted to keep it on one theme, but my favorite was the Michigan game, the Red Dawn musical.
I'm a Wolverine.
So, if you're not clear on what we're talking about, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Law Dog Sports and see the post that I posted about the University of New Mexico football schedule video reveal. So anyways, that's going on. And as I mentioned before we got off on a tangent there, Jeremy, I watched quite a bit of basketball last night. And Victor Wemby, as folks call him, out for the remainder of the season with deep vein thrombosis in a shoulder. And I believe they're saying it's right shoulder. And somebody posted a video of him trying to hurl a ball down the floor. And I think it was Sohan that kind of reached up and held, kept kind of like a quarterback trying to throw the ball and gets, him back. The person that posted is trying to claim that might be it. I don't know. But, man, blood clots, he's on blood thinners for 3 months, they said. He is so young, and that's nothing to jack with.
Yeah, I remember a borderline Hall of Fame player that lost his entire career due to blood clots, Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
And, it's nothing to mess with.
No.
And he's so young. It's just crazy to think that it's a potential career ender.
Yeah.
Unless they can get this thing under control.
And I mean, I have to wonder if the Stephen A. Smith face of the league comment might have been, the bad juju that brought all this on.
He's French. He can't be the face of the league. It's Austin Reeves.
I think Chuck Barkley had something. Yeah, it is Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves taking shots at Jordan fans all over the planet. So, but anyways, no, it's bad for my Spurs. It's bad for Wemby, but I'll say this: two things. I want to see how this team develops around De'Aaron Fox and what they can do with a lot of that young talent. See if they can make a run. I think they can. I mean, they got out and just kind of like what the Thunder do, just outran Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is a team that will not defend. So what De'Aaron Fox do? He took it to the rack and got 26 points. And it would have been worse if Chris Paul could buy a bucket.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he was terrible in the late part of the game when they were really trying to pull away.
It's about time for his annual hamstring injury that ends the
Yeah,
season, isn't it?
he's got a calf pull or
Oh my
something coming
goodness.
up. So,
Yeah,
um,
Chris Paul's a good player, but I think
hey,
I think he's probably done.
well, he's his last 5 years have been more contribution, and as a Thunder fan, you know this.
Yeah,
There's been
he was
more
really good with the
contribution to
Thunder.
show young guys how to be in the
Yeah.
league, you know,
Yeah, I
and
mean
that's
he
great.
mentored the potential MVP this year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Exactly. Man, talking about MVP, former MVP Nikola Jokic, man, he had a big game last night for Denver. They're what, on an 8-game win streak. So, well, back on the Spurs, what I was going to say is two things. I want to see how this Spurs team develops with De'Aaron Fox, coming in. And like I said, 26 points last night. They've got Detroit tonight on the second of a back-to-back. But I'll say this, as a Spurs fan, don't start flirting with the tank.
Last
I
time they
mean,
flirted with the tank, they got
that's what
Tim
they got
Duncan.
Tim Duncan, but that was some, I mean, you had David Robinson and Sean Elliott, but that was they were still reeling from the Rodman effect. I mean, that was bad,
True.
I mean, just leave the tanking to the really bad teams. Go out and try to win. You've got a core of young talent that when Wemby comes back, just roll with it.
I see what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. But as I said earlier, we don't know the extent. We don't know how long Wemby's going to be out. We don't know if he's ever going to be able to come back. I know that's negative. That's just
No, I mean, we've
I
seen that
we've seen it
issue
happen.
cause careers before.
Wasn't what kind of was it Markel Fultz that had the deep vein thrombosis and wasn't able to shoot ever again?
He's
Or
back in the league.
there was some
Was it?
sort of,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
had an
know if it
issue of
was,
some sort,
yeah.
but
We don't know if he's going to be the same guy. We don't know if
yeah.
he's going to play. You tank and you get another lottery pick to build around De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, so
you're not winning
Cooper
it this
Flag
year.
is obviously the prize that you're
Yes.
looking at in this draft. Who else?
San
The
Antonio's
Auburn
not
kid?
winning it, going to win it this year. They make the play in, they make it through the play in,
No.
they
But
get in that first round and be done.
And what do you do with that team to tank? I mean, they've got guys who are getting out there and developing their game. Wemby was in his second year. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, do you think he came from Sacramento in total obscurity to come to San Antonio and want to tank?
But there's a precedent set there. And it's San Antonio. It's a quality franchise. He's not in basketball purgatory in Sacramento.
Yeah, I know.
He's in San Antonio now. You get
Let the
another
guy
guy
play.
around him.
Let him show out.
But guys pull hamstrings and miss a week or two here and there, and it happens. You could tank. Don't do that. Do you want to live what I've lived the last decade, or would you like to get those 5 titles again? What would you like?
Unless you're going to start
would you like to be
players,
just good enough? You want to be just good enough to make it to the first round of the playoffs and get your doors blown off, or do you want to build a team that's going to be up there, second, third round, finals for a decade?
YouTube comments, Connor Carr, the clot being in shoulder is the scary part. That's close to the heart. That is exactly right. And plus, I mean, think about, my arteries are clogged with a lot of chicken fry grease, but think about the distance that those arteries and veins have to travel to his heart because he's so long. I mean, just sheer distance of veins. Dan Narva from Michigan checking in. Morning, guys. That's bad news about Wemby. Yeah, it is. It's bad news for the Spurs, and I mean,
it's bad news for the league.
Yeah, I mean
that's a draw right there.
It is, and I mean it's been what, 2 years in, and he's played a bunch of games this season.
I mean, Chuck, I'll speak for you. I want that Wemby Chet rivalry for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got two guys that, look like Slender Man out there just going at each other all night.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, I don't want the fans of San Antonio and those young players to have to deal with a tank. I mean,
but the tank could be a season. Like Oklahoma City's tank when they were the black eye of the league. They had their guy, and then they just stacked assets and drafted a bunch of really good players, and now they're at the top of the West.
Yeah.
And and they're going to be competitive for a decade. You
But
don't.
you better start wheeling and dealing now.
I mean, look at
I
the
mean, trade
ebbs and
deadline's
flows.
up.
Yeah, I know, but you're talking off-season stuff, and I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of assets they would have that would bring ones, and I don't know what their draft situation is.
I think people are pretty high on Sohan.
Yeah, Sohan,
I
you
don't know
got
if he's
Fox, who's still relatively young. He's not. I don't think he's 30
yeah.
yet, is he?
No, he's not.
So you got a couple guys right there that are good NBA players, budding NBA
Yeah.
players.
Vassell and Keldon Johnson,
Get
pretty
you
pretty
get you a
good
couple of
prospects.
euros that can fill up the hoop from three, and you're right back in it.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's a bad deal, and I feel bad for the Spurs, and it's just we'll see what they do tonight. I mean, last night they really kind of ran all over Phoenix, and talk about a franchise that's in a debacle. KD,
Hey,
I mean,
man,
oh,
everything,
and
Kate.
plus the game was in Austin, so
Yeah, what's crazy is KD was considered. Remember? Oh, I felt like LeBron was passing me the torch when that stacked super team in Golden State beat the Cavaliers in the finals,
hmm
and everything he's touched since then has just turned to crap.
yeah. I mean,
It
the Brooklyn experiment was a total debacle, and hell, James Harden's out kind of balling in LA right now. I mean,
Yeah,
I think I saw a Kawhi sighting last night.
man, that's
He still lost, but
just get back to me when he plays a back to back or throws a 40-minute performance out there.
yeah. Well, like I said, the Nuggets looked good last night. They seem to be catching stride with a win streak. Thunder get back in action tonight against Utah at the Jazz against the Jazz in Utah. Thunder come into the post All-Star break at 44-10. They're 14.5 point favorites tonight on the road, Jeremy.
That's crazy. I've seen some just mind-boggling lines
Yeah,
for this Thunder team, especially on the road when they lost that last game, and I think they were an 18.5 point favorite.
yeah. Chet Holmgren, what's your outlook projection that he's going to be able to do for the last part of the regular season?
Those minutes are going to get ramped up. He's going to take on more of a role in the offense. Health with him is the major factor, but it was a bone injury. It wasn't soft tissue, which seemed to be more difficult to heal and more
Sure.
nagging. So I can see him just getting back to, I want to see him play 25 to 30 minutes tonight and then start getting over that 30-minute mark. And then in the playoffs being full go, no pitch count, ready to
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah, that's pretty much where they need to be. SGA, that guy, he's going to get his. I think Jalen Williams probably hitting a point where he can go create his.
All-star Jalen Williams, sir.
That's right, All-Star NBA All-Star Jalen Williams. I noticed that I think is it Cason Wallace is a game time decision as well as Alex Caruso. Caruso's probably pretty vital down the home stretch, don't you think?
He is, and they have an embarrassment of riches at that
Yeah.
spot, which isn't
Yeah.
really it's not a 3, it's not a 2.
It's
It's
like a
just
hybrid.
get your butt out there and guard the best guy with the basketball. And
Yeah.
we got 18 fouls to use, so we're going to use them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's exactly right. One thing about SGA, and I know he keeps his averages up. He can, like I said, he can get buckets, but trying to bait Connard into a phone call, 580-952-9145. SGA's use of the mid-range jumper is just what amazes me about that guy.
And not just the mid-range jumper, the fact that the man has developed a more complete game this year with the three-point shot. He's
Sure.
always been a above average defender. He can get to the basket when he wants to. Nothing's fast. He's got that Paul Pierce quality about him where if he's going to get to a spot, you're not going to stop him, and it's not going to look fast, but he's going to get there.
Paul put somebody on skates last night. I forget who they were playing, but they showed the highlight. Man, he made one little juke, and then some poor kid went flying. Well, and projections I saw, Jeremy, have OKC maybe in the second round facing the Lakers. I don't mean to burst your bubble here, but there's no way the league's letting OKC get past LA in that round.
Yeah, we'll see. I just want to see if
It,
Luka gets his stuff figured out. He's been very timid. He's
Calf strain last night.
he's part of the La system now, where LeBron's got the ball and he's just hanging around the 3-point line.
Yeah,
I don't think that's I think LeBron needs to take a back seat and let Luka run the show.
he's not going to after he got 40 last night against Portland.
No. Well, yeah, he had all that rest during the All-Star break because he had the ankle, couldn't play. He's out there, with the 50-inch vertical on full display off that bad ankle.
Austin Reeves with 32 last night against the Trailblazers, and Reeves put out a post later, said if you don't think LeBron's the GOAT, you're just a Jordan fan or something to that effect.
No, you're just you just have eyes in your head.
He's an OU kid. Do you root for him?
Sort of. I mean, he's got some really, 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 really dumb takes like that.
Yeah. He's wearing Laker gold and purple or whatever that is.
Yeah, he's got to talk nice about LeBron.
Oh yeah,
going to get traded.
Yeah, he could end up by the
Could end up in Sacramento.
Yeah, exactly. Tonight, I believe it is. Who do the Blazers or who do the Warriors have tonight?
Let me pull up the schedule. I do have the Facebooks open. We're on the YouTubes though.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, streaming live. If you want to call in, 580-952-9145. We'll be glad to visit with you.
Excuse me while I put on my spectacles to read this.
Pelicans at Dallas to take on the Mavs, and then it is Sacramento and Golden State. I thought there was a better matchup than that tonight.
Well, you got the big Memphis-Orlando matchup.
Yeah. Memphis got housed by Indiana last night, so I wouldn't count on that being much.
What has happened to Ja Morant?
He's just he's focused on something other than improving his game, I think. But
for all the burn that the Mavericks have been getting since, we're going to compete for titles, they are 4 games above 500.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Did you see that James Harden passed Hakeem Olajuwon for the 13th player in NBA history to score 27,000 points?
I didn't see that, but
yeah. It's out there,
man. You had a guy that was a post player that did things other than score, and a guy that all he does is score.
Yeah, that's the thing. Has
he passed Carmelo yet?
Oh yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, the Nuggets win 129-115 over Charlotte last night. And they are on a 9-game win streak, 9-1 over their last 10, obviously. And they take on the Lakers on tomorrow night. That in Denver. So that'll be a catch on a Saturday night. It won't be as cold, but when it's this cold, I don't want to be out doing anything.
I'm just marveling at the utter destruction that Paul George has caused the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think Oklahoma City owns their first round pick this year.
Probably so. So last night it was the Sixers. It was Boston that
Boston
they were playing in 124-104 Celtic win. And like I said, I saw a highlight of playoff P putting somebody on skates, but
17 points, 7 of 14 from the floor.
Yeah. So basketball, I did pay attention just because TBS had the Spurs on, which I'll be honest with you, I'm a little cheap, Jeremy. I haven't jumped out on any of the streaming services where I could get Spurs games on the regular. There's going to be some decision making upcoming as far as Rangers baseball. Do I want to pay extra to FanDuel? Because really, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but I'm kind of I'm starting to rack up those monthly streaming fees that were going to end up totaling the amount I was paying Cox Cable back in the day.
Tell me about it. I'm very irritated with this whole. I miss cable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Back if it was like an a la carte, you can just pick what you want. You can ditch ESPN if you want. You can
Yeah.
grab whatever. If Disney Plus is on there, you can just throw that on there. But no, you can't do that.
Well, and speaking of the streaming and speaking of cable and all of that, the Major League Baseball has decided to break their contract with ESPN, the mothership. One more season of Sunday Night Baseball or whatever they think it is now. What's your take on Manfred and this move, and probably going to just a streaming service? I
Manfred.
guess Fox.
Well, let's look at the numbers. And I looked up the numbers, and then I saw Clay Helton tweeted them out, and so I just took his numbers.
Sure.
So Disney, ESPN, was paying 550 million a season for Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
When you consider that with viewership down, they're paying $2.5 billion for the NBA. Is that the NBA contract is $2.5 billion? Whatever their TV contract is.
Uh-huh.
And where can we watch the NHL? Are they on NBC? Are they on ESPN?
Well, I mean,
ABC.
Well, that's good. That's a good question. I mean, I guess NBC has.
So I need you to chime in.
Yeah. Alexa.
remember after the when they canceled the season, and you could only view NHL games on the Outdoor Network.
I do remember that. Those were some glory days of cable, buddy.
And that's the last time I can remember actually watching an NHL game, because I'm not gonna lie, I live in Oklahoma. I don't care about hockey.
And that's a topic here in a little bit I wanted to broach as well. Breach or broach, whichever one. But no, Outdoor Channel, man, that was those days when yours truly was doing a victory lap around the living room saying, look who paid for the extra sports package.
That's right, buddy.
Oh gosh, good times. No, I mean,
I think it's, and Major League Baseball is not guiltless in this, because they don't market themselves. They don't.
No.
You had Trout and Ohtani in Anaheim, and they could have been playing on the moon, because nobody cared. Nobody watched. It's just been awful, with the death of WGN with their baseball
TBS.
Package.
I mean, TBS still does some.
TBS still does.
WGN would rather show MacGyver reruns or something.
Oh, they go to whatever that news network is after 5 o'clock, and it's like
the National Desk or something.
Where's my Cubs games? Just can we have a drunk AI Harry Carey? It would be absolute gold. Man, bring it back.
I mean, really, somebody could sit there and be typing. Somebody could be there and typing up the dialogue that you could use with AI. I mean,
or just pay Will Ferrell a bunch of money to go in character.
He doesn't say no to much, so why not?
No, he doesn't.
Dan Narva checking in again. Yep, on all that. Hoping FanDuel will offer a season package for my Tigers, as they did last year with Bally instead of $19.99. See, that's where you lost me. $20 a month. That's a couple of coffees.
And I was going to get rid of the Netflix, but the wife watches it all the time. It is creeping up to $30 a month, and I'm getting a little irritated with it.
We're on that base package because I'll put up with commercials for the most part. But we watched that documentary about Gabby Petito and the outdoor life, the van life murder thing, and the commercials seem to be front loaded, which I can live with.
I would rather. Hulu kind of does the same thing. I watch a couple of things on Hulu. If you haven't watched Paradise on Hulu, you should. It's great.
Okay, I don't have Hulu, but I'll take your word. Did you check out? Well, never mind. I don't want to get off on a rant here. Thing about Major League Baseball is, I mean, ESPN has. I mean, you mentioned Major League Baseball's culpable in this. Their marketing and the way they present the game and their stars is just. I mean, it's been 15 years that people have just been gnawing on them about why don't you promote your stars. The thing about it is too is you look at all of the talking heads who draw the most clicks in sports media. They don't talk about baseball until it's playoffs,
Yeah,
or,
it's
or
like
maybe
no.
some in spring training. When it's April and teams are just getting underway, I mean, I guess Russo's on First Take. He has some baseball knowledge, but it's all New York. I mean, and then also, I don't know that I got to check and see. Chuck's got to pay for golf balls for Foss. Can't afford that 19.99 a month, buddy.
He's about to switch to nitros, Connor. He's going to have some extra
I
money.
I clear $20 a week on found balls out at Foss, pal. So, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, you turn on any of the talking heads analysis shows, and if they do talk baseball, it's Yankees
I
or
know.
Ohtani. I
It,
mean, that's it.
and it seems and ESPN has a lot of fault in this. I'm not saying it's not all their fault, but when they
No,
killed baseball tonight,
yeah.
a lot of people lost interest in
Oh
baseball.
yeah, yeah. And when you put out, subpar broadcast teams on Sunday Night Baseball,
Sure.
nobody wants to hear that. I mean, get somebody that people want to hear. Use your prime talent in prime spots, and that was a baseball fan's prime spot. Also, these flyover states that have teams. You had Kansas City won a World
World
Series in
Series,
just the last 10 years. The Rangers, they
Cards.
bitch and I'll say this about the pencil neck out. Well, I don't know if he's in LA still. He's in Chicago now, I think. But the pencil neck out there in LA, I mean, he refuses to talk about middle of the country teams, regardless. I mean,
Oh,
unless it's
sure.
Chiefs football, But I just, I just I don't see anything bad coming from this split. Get them off ESPN, and let real baseball fans and then have Fox during the summer when they have absolutely no other programming, show 2 games a week on
Yes.
on Fox, regular.
There is so much garbage on TV that we just don't nobody cares about, nobody's watching
Yeah,
anyways. Throw a ball game on.
yeah,
People are going to turn it on just to have it on in the background.
yeah. I would
It
think
just
bars.
blows my mind. And
Think about the
Connor, yeah,
sports bars.
The Dodgers and the Yankees have been very good, but the Braves have been good. Like we just said, the Royals have won a World Series. Hell, if
Yeah,
the Royals were on TV here, I'd watch them.
yeah. Especially Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, absolutely. It's it's just it blows my mind the way that ESPN has fumbled and Major League Baseball has fumbled this whole thing. It's not unprecedented to see a league make a comeback. The
No.
NHL canceled an entire season, and guess what? You're seeing all over Twitter now. People are like, "Hey, I want to start watching hockey after what's been going on."
Well, and 2 things that would go a long ways to my mind
More
is
fights?
you know well that, but in baseball, get the franchises out of Florida. Nobody in Florida wants. I
Nobody
mean,
cares about that.
they watch baseball for a month in March and
Yep,
then they're done. And
they
nobody
care more
watches the
about
Rays. Nobody watches the Marlins. Get them out of there. Send
they
them
care
somewhere
more.
else.
And what's crazy is the Marlins as a franchise have had a lot of success,
Yeah, they've got
but
two. They've got 2 World Series, right?
nobody cares.
Yeah.
I will postulate that they care more about college baseball, which
Oh yeah.
outside of SEC city, towns, cities,
Hmm.
whatever. Nobody college baseball's not a huge draw.
Well, I mean, they've got three major programs in that
Oh yeah.
state that will be competitive in baseball. I mean, Miami's
Florida, Miami, and Florida State.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then well, so I'll say this, like you said, sports is cyclical. Everything in sports is cyclical. Things come around, you know. Um I just Connor Carr, it just means more. Yeah.
Shut up, Connor.
Yeah. So he's he's just sitting there in his plastic hog hat waiting for Arkansas baseball to get something going. But anyways,
You think he gets out of bed and calls the Hogs every morning?
oh, you know it. But no, Ed, hey, it's going to be interesting seeing SEC baseball coming to Norman this
Oh,
season. I mean,
Heck
I ain't
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie. I
exciting.
mean, there could
I'm
be some rivalries kick up and some great games. I mean, that would be huge for baseball, college baseball in the state, because apparently OSU's decided to forego all their tradition and really not do much.
yeah. Cugnato's been calling me wanting to go to basketball games, and we'll talk about that later. But
Well, yeah, we will.
uh,
But
you
the
know,
last thing, oh, go
I-
ahead.
if he throws out some, hey, let's go watch an OU baseball game. I'll go watch Skip and the guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I enjoy Dale Mitchell. They've done
yeah.
some upgrades to it. They need to bulldoze it and rebuild it, but we'll
Connor
see.
says he's headed to Arlington tomorrow to watch the Hogs play TCU. So there you go.
They're gonna
It
play in
does,
the
hey, and to not mock him, it does mean more. You've got
yeah.
this dude living in Oklahoma City, an Arkansas fan traveling to Fort Worth or Arlington to watch his team play TCU.
So
That's
they
the
playing in
SEC in
the
a nutshell.
are they
Huh?
playing in the Ranger Stadium?
I would think so. I
That
mean,
that's
going to be.
cool. That's
Yeah.
that's neat. Yeah, I would probably do it too.
Yeah, they've done some of those big. I mean, back when OU was in the Big 12, I think there were some games that they would hold at Globe
Well, they
Live.
well they had the at the ball. What the is that ballpark at Arlington? Is that
Mm,
what it morphed into with sponsorship rights and all?
the
Because they
old
used
stadium.
yes, because they played the
Oh
Big 12
gosh,
tournament there a few times.
before they built the new one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
Even
So
when it
Globe
was
Life,
at the
isn't
Brick
it Globe
was
Life
pretty cool.
Park or something like that? I mean, in I don't know. Connor can
I
tell us.
I
But
don't know.
anyways, but back on cyclical. College sports is
Cyclical.
cyclical. Baseball.
Time is a flat circle.
Time is a flat circle. LIVIN. Um, no, but the thing about sports is all it takes is the right marketing plan. I mean, hell, Manfred should call the University of New Mexico and say, "Get me those kids that put out that Family Guy video." I mean,
Yeah.
do some things and get these names more renowned. And I'll say
Globe
this:
Life.
Globe Life Park. That's the old one, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
because the
man.
new one's Field. The
Yeah.
charcoal broiler is Globe Life Field.
Should have got
The
Green
big
Egg to
the,
sponsor
the big charcoal
that.
broiler is Globe Life Field. Anyways, well, that'd be fun. I mean, it'd be fun to go down and watch college baseball.
Sure.
There at the ballpark.
College
But
baseball just seems like one of those things that hasn't changed at all. It's still just baseball.
yeah,
You know, they kind of killed the bats, but guys are getting bigger and stronger, so they're kind of overcoming that and starting to see some scores and runs again. And yeah, it's just good baseball.
imagine if in this area if one Kyler Murray had chosen baseball instead of football.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee he would have ever made it to the
He's
show.
guaranteed. He was a stud. I would say
Just out of speed alone.
I was going to say with dudes with that kind of speed, I think are pretty good locks. But no, back on baseball, it's got to have something come around. But I'll tell you this much: there is change brewing, Jeremy, and it's not going to go quiet into that night. Baseball related.
What's that? Hit me.
The New York Yankees have decided to opt into allowing facial hair for their players.
Yeah, I don't care.
Big Stein's not going to like this.
Well, Big Stein's been gone for a few years, and
Oh, wow, too soon.
too soon. He's been dead for like 15 years, hadn't he? Maybe 20. Hey Siri, when did
I like
George
those little
Steinbrenner
donuts. All right, so
Steinbrenner died July 13th, 2010 at age 80 in
die? Yeah,
Tampa.
he's been dead for 15
he's not
years.
going to get us copyrighted on YouTube, is she?
I don't know.
Well, so anyways, here's the thing. I'm against it. Keep the facial hair policy. You don't need to be all scraggly looking out there wearing Yankees pinstripes. Think about all the play. Johnny Damon, who might be able to grow a beard as fast as you, shaved so he could play for the Yankees. I mean,
They killed Johnny Damon when they made him cut his mop off. Yeah,
he said that before I even uttered that sentence. So
I know.
You
had to clean up his act, and
Yeah.
that guy was just a mess anyway.
now, have mustaches been a lot? Because didn't Donnie
As long-
Baseball have a mustache?
As long as it didn't go above the upper lip.
So see, they had police regulations.
Even
their
even the
teams.
goose had to chop off the ends of his Fu Manchu.
No, Rod Beck was the Giants. Man,
Yeah.
he had quite the
Yes.
Fu Manchu.
It doesn't matter to me. I always thought it was a little silly, but it's also part of the Yankee lore and mystique.
Yeah, I mean, but
I
what's
mean,
the
they had
younger
some of the most
Steinbrenner's
terrible
name?
they've had some of the
Les.
most terrible people in the league play the Yankees, but they cut their hair and shaved.
Sure, exactly. Dan Narva says Samson Damon. So yeah, he.
Yeah.
But hey, the Red Sox didn't mind. All right, so Major League Baseball, we'll see what comes about of this. They've got one more year with the Mothership. They're just about to get started. I saw something today on Sports Grid that I think Shohei Ohtani is plus 55.
To
It's
win
like
MVP.
super odds to win MVP. It's like, who's going to, you know, I don't know.
He's got a lot of protection in that lineup. He's going to see a lot of fastballs.
Yeah, I guess, but you're not going to win. You bet on him, you're not going to win much. So.
No, 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 no. I'd put money on man, who's poised to have a breakout season?
Oh, I saw the list.
Juan Soto.
Trout was leading contender at I think Soto was second on that list.
Trout, is
Or
he
was
going
it
to stay
Lindor?
healthy?
I don't know. I just saw Shoei. Real quick, a little bit of levity here on the show, even though pretty much the whole show is levity. Here in our neighborhood, my wife, she always makes sure to give the kids some snacks or whatever after they get out of school and stuff like that. And we've got a lot of kids here in our neighborhood, but some of them have taken to their artistic renderings. And I may have shown you this before, but I'll show this for the camera. This is one of our neighbors' renderings of me. And if you're familiar with the Trailer Park Boys of Canadian television, that's a dead on for Sam Losco, the caveman guy.
Let's see it.
Can you see it?
Hang on, I'll put tabs here. No, I don't see it. Oh my God. I was kind of hoping it would be a 1-for-1 with bubbles.
No, that's pure Sam Losco right there. And then another kid drew a picture of me and apparently believes I'm Paul Schaefer.
Where did the gold tooth come from?
I don't know. I mean, I do have some coffee staining, but I didn't think it was that prevalent. But anyway, so a little bit of levity. Hey, Major League Baseball, we'll see what happens with that. College football. How about the fact that Texas, USC, Nebraska, and I believe Ohio State have decided to cancel their spring games? I've got some opinions on this, but I want to hear yours.
I don't care. I don't care at all. It is.
Have you gone to an OU spring game in the last 5 years?
I've gone to all of them.
Okay.
I don't think I went last year, but I've been to. I think I've been to 4 of the last 5. I went out there with Trace Atkins doing the honky tonk badonkadonk when it was about 30 degrees and wind out of the north.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's not a great experience. You're just out there watching them practice. It's a recruiting tool for other schools. Once that window opens, these guys aren't happy. They'll just jump right in the portal.
Well, and that's what I was going to go at is
I just don't care about it, and I'm hoping Oklahoma cancels theirs.
they've got to do away with the spring portal.
They've got to do it. It's ridiculous. It nothing about college football is making sense anymore, but that makes the least sense.
Because if you've committed, and let's say you're an early enrollee and you go through spring ball, whatever form or fashion your program holds it, and all of a sudden you decide you don't look at it, that is a complete waste of resources, especially now with NIL.
Exactly.
Pay it,
They're
make
not
them pay it back if they do.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Give that money back.
Yeah.
Now, if they close the spring window, fine. Bring the spring game back with caveats. Ticket sales go to NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Concession sales go to NIL. Everything's got to go to NIL.
School's not going to sign off on that.
I know, but they got to do
their
something.
Facilities. It's their expenses to put the thing on. They're going to want their share.
Well, they're revenue sharing, and when they start getting those big SEC checks, they're gonna have all that extra cash. They got to do something. They have got to do something. And two portal windows, fine. Have one in the fall, one after the bowl games, and then that's it.
No, I mean, I say just one after the regular season. If you decide you want to go,
No, can't do that at
I
the
mean,
regular
teams that are in
season.
the playoffs, go ahead, do what you got to do. I mean, keep them, if your team's in the playoffs, okay, your portal people can stay on until afterwards, whatever. But just one after the regular
Yeah,
season and be done.
and the reason why they do it after the regular season is because of enrollment in January. Well, what's driving the bus?
Yeah.
What sport has the most tutors, the most ability, and do you
Well,
really think we care much about academics anymore?
I was going to say, I
Let them
mean,
enroll 3 weeks late. Who
it's just
cares?
the NFL farm system is all it is. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much: high school basketball in Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma, doesn't seem to care about semester breaks either.
No.
There's kids transferring in, all over the place to play the final third of the high school basketball season, and it's just a mockery.
It's just a crazy time we're living in right now where, everything's been just diluted by
Yeah.
money and
Well,
greed and stupidity, and we're letting people without fully formed brains run multi-billion-dollar enterprises.
and I've got something to go on that one too. But here's the thing: the NIL deals have to become contracts.
They must.
You can't just say, "Yeah, come here, we'll give you this money," and then they leave. It's got to become a contract. It's got to become a situation where if you break that contract, make
You're
the
on the hook
program
for
that you want to
something.
transfer to have to pay your buyout.
Buyout.
I mean, especially for these high end players.
Mhm.
And I say high end. Sometimes they're just by
Like your
position.
your Caden Greens of the world.
Yeah, that kid and the Alabama kid that bounced from Iowa to Bama back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
I think he collected a cool 10 mil just on 2 transfers.
Cash the check and go back.
Yeah. Speaking of NIL and too much money and unformed brain processes, Carson Beck, did you see he had 3 cars stolen from his swanky Miami joint?
Did he not just sell them to get some more methamphetamine?
I don't know, but I've never seen a player look like Skeletor more in my life.
Well, maybe, yeah. Maybe he sold them, claimed they were stolen because the Miami check didn't clear. That's been known to happen.
I don't know, but one was a Lamborghini,
Oh, of
and I
course.
guess
Why not?
one was his model girlfriend or whoever she is, which trust me, she's just with him for the money.
Think he may have outkicked his coverage on that one?
Oh yeah, he's Reggie Robied that relationship in a heartbeat. But Carson Beck in the news for his vehicles being stolen. Jeremy, for him to have those kind of rides, and to have done what he's done in college football, that's true proof in the pudding that the
Mhm.
NIL is just whack.
It is. It is. I'd expect a couple Dodge Chargers in the driveway, not a
Well, I
Lamborghini.
mean, how many Kia Rios, were getting fanned out back in the mid 2000s by Big Red Sports and Imports? I mean,
I-35 Norman.
Norman, Big Red Sports and Imports.
Yes.
I mean, show up, clock in, leave.
Yeah.
Get your Sonata.
Mhm.
Oh gosh. Well, more college, and here's what I'll say about Matt Rule. Seems to be the one that's been honest about his reasonings for canceling spring ball. It's like he's just flat out alleging tampering.
Well, there's no. I mean, that's true though.
Sarkisian came out and gave the excuse that his players need the break after their long playoff run.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, these
Yeah.
18
on
to
a
22
podcast
years
called-
old are just worn out.
He was on a podcast called Up and Adams, which I guess the gal's name's Kay Adams. I don't. That name sounds familiar, but you never know. If L'Oreal turns her eyes, he might shoot a shot.
Well, we know why. We know why Muleshoe canceled his.
It interferes with his vacation schedule.
Well, that and they're going to be playing in front of the same amount of people as they would be playing in front of in the fall.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So,
here's the thing: I
don't
get
want
it.
to waste those true game day experiences on recruits.
Well, no, and Austin and Compton. I mean, they have a lot in common when you think about it. You're going to have a hard time drawing people for a spring game. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Texas fans are to that point now where, we want to see the playoff.
Uh-huh.
But I get it. But Matt Rule, thank goodness for him just being straight out. I don't want to be subjected to the tampering that'll go on.
Oh, good for
And,
him.
so also there was a article by Ross Dellinger I read about the meetings between the SEC and Big Ten commissioners wanting to try to get more seeds, get reseeded, I guess, where the top four is not necessarily conference champions. According to Dellinger, they won't be able to achieve that based on the other conferences never going to sign off on that, which I think is fine. Mike, what's his name? Mike Bratton, SEC Mike on Twitter.
Yes.
He was on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier this week, and this is what he had to say.
We got to be fair, right? It's got to be equitable. We got to let everybody have a seat at the table. And you know what I did today, Paul? I looked up because last time I checked, every time it's a national champion, it's usually the SEC, the Big Ten has found a way to cheat their way to a couple national championships. But if it's not the Big Ten, it's the SEC and occasionally an ACC. Like, what are we holding out for here? BYU won the national championship 1984. That was before I was even born, and I'm old. So is that what we're holding out for? Is the what off? I think it could be 2084 before BYU wins another national championship.
BYU catching strays there, as well as the Big 12, I guess you could say. But that's a frequent contributor on Twitter, X, and he was on the Paul Feinbaum show talking that. So Sankey and I don't even know who the Big Ten commissioner is, but do they look to secede? Do they look to go rogue and do their own thing, or will it come back around before that?
They're throwing the gauntlet down where they want, if they're going to expand to 16, they want 4 automatic berths for each conference.
Yeah.
So you'd have half of it, which it does make sense when you consider that the SEC and the Big Ten are the 2 big boys on the block. There's still 8 seeds out there for people, and it's probably going to be 4 and 4 anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So get it out of the way.
One way you could change things is reseed it after the first round.
They could, or they could just go with the polls as your rankings, because you've had conference champions play on the road. I mean, the ACC champ had to go to Austin in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So just go total rankings. Don't worry about who won the conference. We'll get rid of these conference championship games because you're going to add another round of playoffs. The money's going to make it. The money's going to be made up. The conference championships do nothing but weaken the product.
I just find it so funny that we're 1 year into this expanded playoff, and the belly aching and the bitching has just been so.
I know, because
constant.
8 was always the number it should have been.
Yes. And you do 12, and you give Arizona State an opportunity to play in the second week, on a bye. Boise State as well, and they lose, and that's the end of that. We gotta change it. I mean, there was a blowout in the Super Bowl in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I know it's too soon.
Well, it happens.
But what I'm saying is sometimes a team's going to show up and just perform. The fact that there's a couple of lopsided games does not reflect anything on how things should change. But these knee-jerk reactions and these little bitch babies that they want their precious SEC and Big Ten to never lose prominence. I'm ready for we said things are cyclical. I'm ready for some West Coast dominance to reassert itself and make the Mountain West great again.
I'm ready for the fictional national championship to come back. Let's just go full 1970s, 1980s, the AP and the
Well, the coaches. Thing is I mean, if they had been doing 4 teams with the BCS back during those days, you wouldn't have had number 5 with that big of an argument.
No, you wouldn't.
Because to me, it seems like there was always a clear cut between 3 and 4 back in those days.
Yep.
Now, I guess the objectivity of strength of schedule was too much for people to bear, but whatever. I mean,
I know.
you got some dude in Broken Bow sitting at his computer figuring out who's going to play in the playoffs. Man, roll with it.
Yeah. And Tony Petitti is the
Mhm.
Big Ten commissioner.
Okay. Thanks for efforting that.
Sure.
Petiti. But anyways, so we'll see what happens. Nothing's going to happen anytime real soon. And
I think I think this current contract is up for renegotiation after this next season.
It is.
So you could see that 16-team playoff, 4-4, or the Big Ten and the SEC will take their ball and go home and do their own thing.
Yeah.
But they want to form an alliance where each conference plays 9. I've got a prop today. Each conference has
it's loud too.
Sorry, has 9 conference games. I'll put it down. 9 conference games plus they'll do a like a Big Ten SEC challenge.
Yeah,
they'll play one game against the other conference, and then maybe you'll get your 2 other cupcake non-conference games, and your schedule's built.
Yeah, the SEC needs to do 9 regardless. I mean, those November non-cons against the FCS are just terrible.
You didn't enjoy the Oklahoma-Maine game?
No, and of course, it kind of backfired 2 seasons ago on Auburn when my Aggies of New Mexico State rolled in and swamped them with Diego Pavia.
Jerry Kill got him.
That's right. Never go against Jerry Kill. Hey, Porter Moser in some bad water with the OU fan base, and you mentioned that Cunado, your brother-in-law, was asking if you wanted to go to some games. Right now, they're offering two of the last 4 remaining games tickets for $25. You can go to 2 games for a total of $25.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's enough. I don't think anybody at this point, the fan base is so frustrated after the way these last 3 seasons have gone that I'm surprised that there'll be 3,000 people at the Oklahoma-Mississippi State game.
There
tomorrow.
won't be, but I'll say this. I got no problem with Dari Noka calling out OU fans on the SEC network because
that's fine. I mean, he's right.
Tell me he's wrong.
Well, he's not wrong, but some of the fans that why am I going to pay to go watch that?
Because it's your team, it's your program. You wear their gear.
Yeah,
it's the cart before the horse or horse before the cart. I mean,
So the only way the fan can make their voice heard is by not having a voice in the arena.
Kind of like have the Cubs done that over the years?
No, but it's the Cubs. Those people don't have jobs. But it's a different thing. The OU basketball program has some tradition. It has been historically a top 25 program. Wayman Tisdale, Stacey King, Mookie Blaylock, Blake Griffin, Trey Young, great players that have played there. Alvin Adams, a lot of great guys have come through there. Billy Ball was great. Filled the arena for Billy Ball. Kelvin filled the arena, and sometimes it was like watching paint dry, but we showed up.
Oh yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy every time you go into that arena once conference season starts. They're going to come out. It's going to look competitive. There's going to be an 8-minute scoring drought. They're going to lose by 20 to 30 points. And that's how it's been. Or they're going to have a 16-point lead with 4 minutes left and just urinate down their leg and lose. They broke me with that Texas A&M game. They broke me. I can't even watch it anymore. I'm so angry, so frustrated. Porter Moser, who was a hot coach at the time when Castiglione hired him, he's only coached 2 teams in his career to the NCAA tournament. And he sure as hell hadn't done it in Norman. They've come close, but the conference always gets him. They're not
going to make it this year.
They beat number 12 Michigan. They beat number 24 Louisville, and they beat number 25 who was that? Arizona.
Yeah.
They have beat 3 really good basketball teams this year, but in the SEC, it looks like they have never played an organized basketball game. It's the most frustrating thing.
They're getting outgunned so hard. And I know it's an up year for the SEC basketball wise, but like you said, you choke it off against A&M at home, and then
and it's not
even
totally
Texas. This isn't
Moser's
a great
fault.
Texas team.
and it's not totally Moser's fault. The system is rigged. The system is rigged. Every year you got to rebuild the entire roster. He's
Yeah.
lost guys to other teams that have gone other places and had great seasons or really good seasons.
But you know who
But
else has? Texas Tech.
everybody else,
Yeah. I
he's just
watched
done.
Terrence Shannon the other night.
But if you think about his Loyola Chicago team that made it to the Elite Eight,
Yeah.
it was a team he'd had together for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's never had a core together for more than a season in
No.
Norman.
And that's you're going to have to get somebody who's a little better wheeler and dealer. And the
Sure.
thing about it is, and I watched the post game with, or maybe it was a halftime with Patino at St. John's, and he's really challenging his guys to quit being so mentally weak. And in this day of NIL, if a kid's sitting there and he doesn't like what you're saying, he just goes.
Bye.
And he'll have plenty of suitors.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I get what you're saying. I just
maybe
think
Patino's tired of St. John's and would, maybe get a big bag of cash from one of his.
I just think OU
fellow...
fans need to make an effort to get down there and support your team. I don't care what your view is on the coach, because the thing is, if you have some decent attendance, players, maybe the next coach looks at it, it's like, hey, they've been struggling, but folks were showing up. That means I have something to work with.
And it just seems that every time they've made a big push to, fill the LNC, okay, great. The fans show up and they just get housed.
I knew we would elicit some comment.
And it's just so frustrating.
Yeah. First off, Connor had commented on the Rule stuff. It said it's bold of Rule to assume people want to tamper with his team. I think didn't somebody snag a receiver from him last season? And I'm sure the Rayola kid's on the radar all the time.
I'm sure.
Michael Busso, do what the FCS does. No conference championships, 24 teams, the top 8 get a bye. It's pretty funny how that system works in the FCS and Division II, isn't it?
It is funny.
And
it's
then,
Connor, go ahead. Well, the thing with the D1 has never wanted to. The thing about college football, especially at the FBS level, is they've always thought that if they play into January, which is it's kind of weeding its way out of the system, that they're going to have to compete with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by and large, there are pockets of the country, large pockets, that care more about college football than the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's football on TV, man. There's a reason why there's Tuesday night action and Fun Belt Wednesdays. Man, we love football.
The NFL has a full day on Sunday.
Yeah. Saturdays in the
but it's a handful of games, with what, 3 net. I mean, you could have the NFL ticket, but really, if you're just me, you get about 5 games maybe on a good day starting at noon. I can start watching Sunbelt games at 11 on a Saturday and keep watching all the way through the Hawaii game at 11. 12 straight hours. But
and they keep putting these games on different days because people are watching them.
Yeah,
I mean, Maction's been a hit.
Yeah, Sunbelt on
with
Wednesday
the 52
night.
days of college football starting in October.
Yeah,
man, go home and just flip on a game, and it's on in the background while you play on your phone.
Connor Carr, at least y'all didn't hire a Hall of Fame coach, lead the country in NIL, and probably won't make the tournament. Damn. He had him fighting at Auburn, and Auburn is really kind of separating themselves. I had it in my notes. Auburn's kind of looking like the modern day UNLV to me.
Yeah.
Really good.
College basketball's tough.
And I'll tell you something else. Last thing I'll say on college basketball. The last thing the SEC, college basketball, or this nation needs is Missouri to start being the giant killer and taking some prominence in the conference. Everything Mizzou related needs to be just abolished.
Just want to crater the whole school. Just be bad at everything again.
They really are the worst.
We hate you.
I thought I hated, I detest Texas every iota of my being, but boy, Missouri's making a strong run.
When I was a kid, I just hated Texas.
Yeah.
And then, Notre Dame joined the party. Couldn't stand Notre Dame. And then I
I
learned
hated
more about
Miami.
Texas A&M, and I hated Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And then God, Missouri wasn't even, worthy of it until this last year, just because I
What brought
remember
about the A&M hatred?
it's just A&M. They're
Von Miller
weird.
stopping them at the goal line.
Eh,
Right.
OU's had a good run against A&M. Stop
Yeah.
it. But it's just the whole deal with the the gold Trans Am, the arrogance of Aggie Nation, it,
Delusion.
delusional. They claim a conference championship in 2012 that they didn't even play for.
Yeah.
They were co-champs of the South. OU won the conference championship. They claim it as a conference championship.
I think
That
Texas
is
has done that too.
bonkers.
I think Texas has some South co-champion
Throw a
banners hanging.
caveat on there. Big 12 South co-champs.
Yeah.
At least you got to put something on the wall because there's not much on that wall.
Hey, here's something for a list for you. Tony Romo, Jason Witten, Zach Martin, who has more All-Pros than holding penalties over his
Accepted holding penalties.
Yeah. Demarcus Ware, Tyron Smith, Des Bryant, Sean Lee, Travis Frederick, and Zeke Elliott. All Dallas great players or heritage players, I guess they call them, or Ring of Honor, whatever Dallas does for their best players. I forget.
Ring of Honor.
To never play in a Super Bowl.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Hey, we did a poll question over the week. I did one that got no love. I guess I know Connor played the youth card on it, so he didn't know what Frazier was. Daphne or Roz, and probably should have did a poll question instead of a like or comment. Watching Frazier over the years, it was always hard to figure out Daphne or Roz. Which one would you go with?
Well,
The old Marianne Ginger debate. In a way,
that's true. I'm
except
more
Roz
the,
was a hoe and
exact.
Daphne
There's your answer.
was a Brit.
There's your answer.
All right. Our actual poll question
I like
was
accents, Chuck.
yeah, I could. That's probably in your wheelhouse, isn't it? Our actual poll question that was legitimate was what's the best non-chain diner in Oklahoma? We got quite a bit of interaction on it, and Connor did bring up a point that you kind of have to categorize it, but I mean, we're talking non-chain, so it could kind of be any type of food you want. But
And you fumbled this one, but go on.
I did. So tell me how.
Well, you lived in Norman, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the diner
Yeah.
on Main Street?
Yeah.
Should have been on the list.
It was mad.
Should have needed more than 3.
That's fine. Yeah.
You got to go get one of them intestinal time bombs in the morning.
Yeah. You find any diner that does some massive breakfast burrito, and I'm probably going to get them up on the list.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had a chicken place, we had a burger place, and then a chicken fry place on the list, and then there were some other suggestions. Ishin's Chicken in Okarche, 45.5%. They won the poll. Other was 29.1%, and we'll go over some of the options that were listed. Kindle's in Noble, 16.4%, but we got a lot of brushback on that Kindle's was just crap anymore. I see those pictures of chicken fries the size of you and my head combined, and they're serving them up on their challenge 2 at a time. And then Nick's in Oklahoma City, which kind of inspired this poll in the fact that Connor had tagged us in a tweet. He was sitting down at Nick's to eat, and it's the tiny little one. I guess they shut down their lounge that used to be. Here's a funny story. Nick's, who's been profiled, I think, on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
It has, yes.
It has. So Nick's on North Penn in Oklahoma City, profiled there, burgers, everybody raves about it seats about 12. So the line there every day at lunch is just outside. But they opened up Nick's Lounge off of 10th and Robinson in the Midtown area. So, hoping to attract the hipster segment. They put it in an old office building just behind City Church. And this is where my story's going. That office building for years was the off-site area for Oklahoma City Police Department undercover operations.
You have some familiarity with the building.
Yeah, yours truly had an office downstairs because it was a 2-level thing where they put their lounge, used to be my office, or me and several other detectives. And I'm not going to lie, there was some not dangerous meth lab material, but meth lab evidence that was processed in those offices at times.
Did
We
they
always,
brought in a crime scene cleanup?
yeah.
Deal to clear
And
it
I
out?
went there one time and I was pretty disappointed. I mean, they had decorated it up, but
Is
food was blah.
See, that's the thing. A lot of these places like, and I've never eaten a Nick's. It may be fantastic. I don't know. All I heard was just difficult to get in. It's
Yeah.
kind of, to me, it seems like, because the people I have talked to, it's kind of like Cattleman's. You either really love it or it's very polarizing.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
One
I've
of
got
my
a
old
friend
partners threw that on there.
I've got a friend who you may know, Patrick McKee.
Yeah.
He can't stand Cattleman's, and it's solely because of that salad dressing. The steak is
I
very
love that stuff, man.
Oh wow, it's
Yeah.
man. They make it in a trash can, Chuck. Do you know that,
That's
right?
fine. I mean,
It's mayonnaise and garlic.
yeah, it's good.
So, anyways, to get back to my point,
Yeah.
maybe it's so desirable because it's kind of like the lobster argument. It's expensive and it's hard to get. I mean, you're talking about a giant cockroach.
Yeah.
Is that why it's good? Because you can't get in there.
You talking about
it's
Nick's or
exclusive.
Cattleman's?
Yeah, Nick's.
Yeah. Here's the thing. My wife and I went there. We used to live north of Shepherd Mall and northwest Oklahoma City, and we would drive by it. And like you said, I always wanted to try the breakfast there.
Sure.
But she was off one day and I was off also, and we were cruising by there right after their lunch rush. And so we stopped in and we got in pretty quick and we were able to eat. Burger was top shelf when I ate there. That's been 10, 12 years ago, probably. Burger was top shelf. Fries were not. There was those toothpick fries, which I hate.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. But I would like to have tried breakfast there. I would say Nick's burger wise is probably up there. Bunny's, man, on 50th and Meridian, and then I think there's one on South Meridian, south of I-40. Bunny's onion burgers is good. All of the onion burger places in El Reno, I've never been disappointed by. Sid's, Johnny's, and Roberts is in a little tiny spot too. Great.
Johnny's charcoal broiler?
No, it's different. But man, there was an old favorite. Yeah, it is IE.
Okay.
But some of the others that got mentioned on the comments, Bunny's, Marty Wandria, our friend who had a birthday here recently at Clinton Liquor, mentioned the Backdoor Steakhouse in Blair, Oklahoma, which if you want to map out Blair, I mean, it is a long way. I think the only thing close to it is Altus.
Remote.
Yeah, pretty remote. But and thing is, I had seen some stuff about that place on some other posts. Old buddy of mine, Cornelius Neal from KBEL in Idabel, Oklahoma, said Red Bee in Idabel. And then somebody mentioned Clanton's in Bonita. A couple comments saying Kendall's had turned to crap. I don't know. Last time I ate at Kendall's, I thought it was pretty good. And
last time I ate at Kendall's, it was in Norman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they moved to Norman for a hot minute. Yeah.
You were kind of absconded from the poll because Conard said all you eat is lettuce leaf and protein shakes.
Well, you throw these polls on there when I'm at work, and I just can't play along. And that's not true either, Conard. I had pizza last night, you jackass.
Note to self: do all polls after 7:00. Oh, so yeah. And we could do another one. Just
I always mean to come back and interact, but I forget.
Oh yeah, non-chain pizza places. And that's the thing. Ishins is a well-renowned chicken place.
Sure.
I've been,
Oldest bar in Oklahoma.
I've been there more in the last year than I probably had in the last 20.
Well, you're out that way.
It's an hour drive, but it's kind of out that way. But this Backdoor Steakhouse in Blair's got me intrigued. A little.
But there's a steakhouse across the street from Cattleman's, and I hear it's just fantastic. McClintock's.
Yeah,
that's the one I want to go to.
I've heard people like it. I've heard people will go there. I'm an old Cattleman's. I mean, Cattleman's is a staple with me, and Jimmy Hatfield, who's the guy who commented it on the poll, is a real staple for him. I mean, he broke me into hitting it for breakfast a lot.
Jimmy likes Cattleman's.
Yeah, Jimmy. You know, it's funny. That was my screensaver for years. Jimmy doesn't like misunderstandings. So, anyways, congratulations to Ishans. As far as our audience goes, you're the top non-chain diner or restaurant in Oklahoma. We could do a Mexican poll, Tex-Mex, something.
Connor Carr says Cattleman's is better than McClintock's. Okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
need to. I haven't been to Cattleman's in many, many years.
Thing about it is, I would think at McClintock's you're going to see a lot of brand or a lot of bourbon snobs sitting in there. They seem.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for like a whole McClintock the movie themed.
Yeah. I went
experience.
to McClintock's one time after Steve Anderson came to town from southeastern Oklahoma. We met at Cattleman's for lunch, him and a buddy of his, and then we went over to McClintock's and had a beer. But quite the array of bourbons there, so I would imagine you could you
didn't have an IPA.
Misfortune. I didn't see IPA, but you could have the misfortune of being seated by a bourbon snob. So just as equally
just
equally
stick your nose in the
unpleasant.
grass and then the glass. Hi, how are you?
They didn't really mash the orange slice enough for this old fashioned.
Oh, well, your simple sugars aren't up to par.
I think I used to do a podcast with that guy. Your trigger guard is out of whack. But anyways, anyways, thanks to everybody who interacted with us on the poll, and thanks to everybody who's interacted with us here today on the YouTube. I mean, I hate putting that out on Facebook, saying we're going to be on Facebook, and then have to pull a curveball like that. But I think now it's kind of set in stone. If I can't even access my Law Dog Sports page through this Zoom call, what's the point?
Exactly.
We're going to be solely YouTube. I'll do my best to try to steer people towards it. We'll share the YouTube video link to our Facebook page. That's the most I can do right now. Plus, I always show the edited video or upload the edited video to the YouTube page, so you get it twice. Not too shabby.
Fantastic.
What do you got going this weekend?
Oh man, let's see. I gotta install some accessories on the new truck.
Oh yeah, you were griping about the new antenna or the antenna on your new.
Yeah, why? I mean, it's 17 feet long.
You should see some of the antennas on these trucks out here in western Oklahoma. I mean,
yeah,
I guess some of them are CB antennas, but they have it looks like a plastic bottle's been wrapped in black tape or something at the top of an antenna, and it sticks up really high.
I've already got the XM antenna on top, and my only concern is if I get rid of the fishing pole antenna, I'm not going to be able to pick up AM radio. So,
thank you. Hey, you just warmed my heart there, Jeremy Schroeder. Thank you very much.
Well, I try, but
no.
The good thing is that a lot
Elon's
of
trying to do away with it, and I hate that.
The only thing I can say is most of what I listen to on the AM side, they have apps, so I can listen to it through the app. I'd rather listen to terrestrial. It's just easier that way.
Sure.
I don't know why the AM signal has to be so weak. I listen to a station in Norman that simulcasts out your area.
Yeah, and you can say them. We're kind of partners. KREF.
KREF. You're in Norman. The home of Sooner fans.
1400 AM in Norman.
I got to tune in every day. I'm off at noon to listen to Mike. I love me some Mike Steely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And if I'm turning out of my edition, I lose signal. That station's in Norman. Yeah. And I've got, like I said, my antenna is 17 feet long.
Yeah. When we lived in Norman, we lived in as far west Norman in a subdivision as you could live, down there off of 48th. And it was down in a river valley. So I understood that. But, I had a shower radio, and I'd shower at night. I'd like to listen to Fox Sports while I'm, cleaning myself. And, AM 1400 just would not come in at night. I
know it's because I'm right at the foot of that little basin.
You're up higher.
You were kind of in it.
Because
right where you were at is the start of the 10-mile flats.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no AM radio reception. It really irritates you when you realize that station used to be on Indian Hills Road between 48th and 60th, and I think it might still be
3 big old towers,
which is like 2.5 miles from where you lived.
Yeah, that was a big KNOR, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And back in the days when WWLS was on that signal too, which I'll say this, WWLS, people don't believe this, but I remember coming back from a Western Swing Festival in San Angelo, Texas, and tuning in to 6:40 a.m. South of Abilene and listening to the OU post game.
Yeah. And I don't, I do, the station we listen to, KREF, used to be on the AM, on the FM dial as well.
Yeah.
They actually turned it into a clone of another radio station.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why they did that. Especially
when KREF lost the deal with iHeart to be, putting the show out on 94.7. I think it was 94.
It was 94.7. Yes.
I mean, that did a lot to knock it down. But I think, and here's the thing, the folks that I've worked for the last 3 years, they are an affiliate of the KREF radio network. And you can pick it up pretty clear out here throughout Weatherford and Clinton. But the thing is like I was listening one day, and it was when I worked full time for them. Thanks, Michael Busso, for chiming in. AM Rocks, yes. AM Rocks. I don't remember if it was Travis Davidson or one of their infrequent hosts talking about being in Tulsa, and they have an affiliate in Tulsa, but he listens on the app. It's like, dude, you can't.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to bring that point up.
You can't be out there promoting your app. I mean, promote the app in places where they don't have the terrestrial signal.
Exactly.
I mean, put your head in the game. And
yeah.
I can't remember if it was Travis or not, but it was somebody that's not quite frequent on there.
And that was a big culprit of why they lost the FM signal, is because most people simply don't listen to the radio. They'll throw an AirPod in and listen to it on their phone on the app.
And here's my thing. AM radio needs to get as campy and as kitschy as they possibly can to draw in listeners of those obscure things. And because you're not going to get people that want to hear pop music on AM radio. And
total Weird Al and UHF.
Yeah, talk radio now with satellite radio, even for that, because I knew guys that listened to Rush Limbaugh for decades on KTOK. And
my dad was one of them.
Yeah, and so they got Sirius XM in their truck, and they listen to Patriot Radio all the time, or whatever that is. And so anyways, but thank you very much, Jeremy Schroeder, for making sure that your new, can I say the brand?
Sure.
GMC pickup from Fowler GMC in Norman.
Ferguson.
Sorry. I knew it started with an F. Fowler's a Dodge, aren't they? So Ferguson. Was
Norman,
Donnie there when you bought
Toyota.
it?
Donnie? No.
Yeah, the kid with the ads.
No.
Okay. One of my favorite a lot of their commercials have been super goofy, but I guess that kid's name is Lucas. He's on Channel 4 in the mornings.
Okay.
Kid with the glasses. And they were talking about winter weather coming in, and he's standing there with milk and bread, and it's like, Donnie, why you get the milk and bread? He was like, because people love French toast. All right. Connor Carr, I learned to drive in a Datsun, and the only radio station that it picked up was an AM station in Mexico City. Yeah.
What a signal.
Wall of Voodoo, Mexican radio.
Was that did they have that big bowl antenna that they look into space with?
Oh, that was XRB or XERF, I think, at Ciudad Acuna, 250,000 watts, or maybe 500,000 watts at one time. I mean, they canvassed the North American continent with that signal, and they could, because there was no FCC across the board. That's where Wolfman Jack got to start. But nice. Connor's exactly right. My penchant for AM radio came from not having a vehicle that had FM radio. And in fact, my first patrol car on the Oklahoma City Police Department only had AM, and I'd have it just kind of on country, because 1340 was KXY back in the early 90s. Yep. And then at night it became, OCU basketball or something like that.
Nice.
So anyways, but hey, let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for jumping in, and we appreciate you tuning in and getting over here with us on the YouTube channel. We'll share all of these videos and audio to our podcast and our other pages, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. Also subscribe here on our YouTube channel. All of those links available on lawdogsports.com. We didn't get any phone calls today, Jeremy. I was hoping somebody take the opportunity to visit with us, and we'll keep that number out there so people can join in. And it would be fun to talk to folks on the phone. And then follow us on Facebook, Twitter X, and Instagram at Law Dog Sports. Jeremy, have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
He is Jeremy Schroeder. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. And we will be getting out of here. So be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. We'll talk to you real soon.
Yeah, it's gonna need to